Anyway, so I started working for Panic at the Disco June of 2006 for $325 a week as their venue and personal security guy. That was
Strictly.
strictly. I did
Not that guy.
not that
Venue.
guy at all.
Yeah.
I didn't do anything else. If things needed to be done, I would sit there and watch them not get done. I was very much just like, that's not my job. I could do security for rock bands. Like, this is cool.
Similar job in a weird way without all the danger.
Yeah, exactly. I was just like, well, I know how to do security. I can stop people easy. Yeah.
So first night, how was it?
First night,
Like what was your first impression of the whole
uh,
thing?
well, the first night was rehearsals. So we get there, we get to Las Vegas. I fly in via Southwest Airlines. Get to Las Vegas, and a limo picks us up. It's like for just a crew. This was like, looking back on it now, it's just a drastic overspending and misbudgeting on the parts of like a young, inexperienced tour manager. He just thought it was cool to like have us all picked up, because a lot of the
Rockstar.
Rockstar stuff, a lot of the crew that he had hired had come over from Mike Kim. Mike Kim was taking a break they were off cycle. So we took like their guitar tech, stage manager, lighting guy, sound guy. Stage manager was a girl. I'm sitting there saying lighting guy. I just want to point out she was awesome. Sarah, I think her name was. And yeah, so first day it was a rehearsal space in Las Vegas, and I walked in there, and it was, if you guys are familiar listening at all, you'll know. If not, like, just Google it. It was their first headlining tour in the United States, 2006. It was the Lucent Dossier tour. Lucent Dossier is a theatrical, kind of like a hippie troupe of performers. And yeah, it was interesting. So they were like dancing around with all these feathers and weird stuff, and I like looked in, I saw the band, and I realized who they were. Chris introduced me to everybody, and it was weird. Like, I distinctly remember Brendan's glasses. Like, he was just like sitting at like a piano, just like plunking away on this thing. Skinny little jeans, skinny little shirt, haircut that looked like he cut himself, which I later found out he did. And he had these like bright red rimmed glasses on, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, what's up?" And just like bouncing around from like thing to thing to thing to thing to thing. And I was just like, all right, so that's that. I talked to Spencer for a second, because Spencer was like in charge of everything. Talked to him for a second and just asked him, I was like, is there anything that you need from me? Anything you want from me right now? I was like, I'm basically just here for you guys, like, safety. There's no fans here. Nobody knows where you're at. So I don't really have a lot to do. And he's like, no, I guess just like help them. Like, talking about the crew, we were trying to retrofit a trailer that got towed behind the tour bus. That's what we were fitting our entire stage thing in, was a trailer, like a U-Haul trailer.
So different.
It's the same thing. We're just a lot of U-Haul
A
trailers.
lot of trailers.
So we went out there, and there was like some storage racks built into it, and we were just like, we didn't have any tools, so we were just ripping out these storage things by hand. And like, that's one of Spencer's earliest memories of me. He was like, I don't remember meeting you at first. He's like, I remember walking outside. We had just got food, and walked outside, and you guys were just like in the back of this trailer ripping out wood. And I was like, that's funny. I remember thinking how stupid that was. We were doing it that way. But yeah, I guess my first experience there was just kind of like chill and fine and fun. And then the next day I was just thrown into it. Next day we started that tour at the, I think it was the Marquee, or no, Sunset Theater. I don't know. It's in Tempe, Arizona. It's a theater behind something. Yeah, we started the tour, and I did my first security meeting, which I had no idea what to do. Nobody had ever taught me anything.
Where you talked to the other venue security
I talked to the
people.
venue security. I get everybody together and kind of run through what the show is going to be like, what the run of the night's going to be like, what we're going to do afterwards. And I didn't know any of it. I had no idea. I was just like, I wish I could go back and listen to that first security meeting because, oh my God, I would have been like, excuse me,
Hey,
sir,
everybody.
do you have any idea what you're doing? Because you sound like a child that just wandered in here, which I was. Yeah, so we got through it. And I remember the first night I walked the band off stage out to the dressing room because the dressing room was like a separate building. Walked them out to the dressing room, which was a separate building. And then they were like kind of hang out in there. And then I set up like a little rope to block people away from the bus. And then, yeah, it was a tiny little rope. And I was like, I don't know, a
You
rope.
just gestured like it's like a strand of ribbon.
Dental floss.
Yeah.
So yeah, I set this up and the guys were all inside and nobody had told me if they wanted to go out and sign. I didn't know that was even a thing because I had never hung out by a tour bus and like waited on an autograph or a picture or something.
Yeah.
So I was thinking like, all right, I need to get them from point A to point B without people touching them. I think I think that's my move. So there was like a mom and like two kids. I remember they were really close to the tour bus door. And I like put up my little rope, gesture to sign. I put up my rope and I was backing them up. And I remember the lady was just like, what are you doing? She's like, you can't tell us what to do and where to go. And I remember turning to her. I was like, I'm their bodyguard. And instantly being like, I regret saying that out loud. What am I doing? And she was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then I remember she like looked at her and she said, that's their bodyguard. We got to back up. I was like, well, that worked. All right.
All right. Let's go on that.
Yeah.
Go down that path.
But I remember just how cringy it was that I like flexed on this lady like that. I was like, why did I say that like that? But she was very much just like, I don't have to do anything. I'm like, well, you do. Like, you do have to leave.
Established authority.
Yeah. Which now, like being in it a couple of years, there's a much nicer way to establish authority, and often.
You're very good at it.
Yeah.
Like establishing authority without being like, well, I say so.
Right. Well, that took that took years because again, nobody taught me how to do this. This was all just trial by fire. And the second tour that we did in the United States was an arena tour. What? Like, and thank God they brought on like an actual venue security guy that handled venue security because I would have messed that up so badly.
So then you switched to just band security?
Switched to just band security. And at that time, that was also the thing. On the first tour, the Lucent Dossier tour, just my personality wouldn't allow me to sit there idle by, like not doing anything while idiots are messing things up. So they had costumes that they wore, the band on stage. They had costumes that they wore every single night. And there wasn't like multiples of these. They were just these
If you've taken the House of Memories tour,
yeah, if
you might have seen some.
If you've taken my tour, you know. This part's going to get boring for you because you've already heard it.
That fluffy white shirt.
A fluffy white
Quote
shirt.
unquote white.
The rose vest. All the stuff, the little iconic things from that first tour, they all needed to be taken care of very carefully because they were because they were just very delicate, and they weren't made like, they're not great costumes.
Weren't they made by a school?
Yeah, like a drama department. So the story goes.
Handmade.
It's handmade. Yeah. So at first I would overhear them being like, oh my God, these things smell so bad. And like, there was nobody that was really taking care of that. So I started doing that. I started like hand washing the items as they needed to be cleaned. I started like waking up in the morning and going through their wardrobe case and kind of just straightening up stuff and cleaning stuff out. Going in before they were there and like making sure their hospitality stuff was taken care of. Like the tour manager was kind of doing it, but he was also kind of not like the best tour manager in some aspects. Like I think he handled the deal part of it just fine and like the making sure the show happened, but there was just aspects where he fell very short. And yeah, I was just like, I can do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that because I saw really quick that I love touring. I love being on the road. I really like the band. And I was like, I want to do this. So $325 a week. Sure. I'll do everything.
You need to pay rent if you're on the road.
I need to pay rent. And yeah,